Ready when mayor's ready.
Calling this meeting to order Monday, November 28th, 2022 at 5 PM. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Kong,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Mahovey is absent at this time. Mayor Pro Tem Ellis.
Here.
Mayor Schwartz.
Here.
Thank you.
Public comment? Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into closed session, public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code 54957, Fire Chief and Police Chief. Okay. Thank you.
Madam Mayor is ready.
Okay. All right, we are back at open session at 6:19 PM. And our invocation tonight will be given by Pastor Rick Klug of the Calvary Baptist Church in Bishop. And the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Council Member Mahovey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Please, if you're willing, join me in prayer. Our gracious and good Heavenly Father, God who loves us and watches over us, thank you. Thank you for the chance to serve you. Thank you for the privilege that it is of mine to pray over the city leaders, this city. Thank you that you are working, and sometimes we don't see it, but you are still there. Father, we're going to do a proclamation, as you know, but I thank you and we thank you for hospice workers, especially, and home health care workers as they're going to be honored. Thank you for the amazing and hard work that they do. As always, we bow before you and say, lead us, show us your will, your way, show our council members and staff what you want for this city, and bless them because they do a good work. And we thank you for them as well. We pray this together before you in the name above all names, in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Hey, Councilmember Kong.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Mahovey.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis.
Present.
Mayor Schwartz.
Here.
Thank you.
Public comment. Notice to the public, this time is set aside to receive public comment on matters not calendared on the agenda. When recognized by the mayor, please state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Under California law, the city council is prohibited from generally discussing or taking action on items not included in the agenda. However, the city council may briefly respond to comments or questions from members of the public. Therefore, the city council will listen to all public comment, but will not generally discuss the matter or take action on it. Is there any public comments? Okay. Direction was given to staff in closed session. Moving on to proclamations. Home Health and Hospice Care Week, December 4th, 2022.
Ready? Okay. Proclamation of the Bishop City Council proclaiming December 4th, 2022 through December 10th, 2022 as Home Health and Hospice Care Week. Whereas home health care providers in Bishop belong to a proud tradition that has existed in this country for more than a century as a cost-effective and humane alternative to institutional care. And whereas quality hospice care reaffirms our belief in the essential dignity of every person, regardless of age, health, or social status, and that every stage of human life deserves to be treated with the utmost respect and care. And
Whereas home care services allow individuals to remain in the privacy and comfort of their own home. The majority of home health clients are seniors, but services are also available to others needing assistance, such as new mothers, those recovering from illness or injury, or those with disabilities. And
whereas consumer preference for home care has been well documented, home care allows an individual to receive care in familiar surroundings with loved ones close at hand. Home care services provide the individual respect and privacy in the comfort of their home. This is a tremendous benefit in maintaining their dignity, independence, and overall sense of well-being. And
whereas at the end of life, through quality symptom control, caregiver training and assistance, and emotional and spiritual support, individuals are able to remain at home and live as fully as possible through the journey at life's end. And
whereas home health and hospice care professionals, including physicians, nurses, social workers, therapists, counselors, health aides, chaplain, and volunteers, provide comprehensive and compassionate care. Home care support services provides attendant care to assist with the daily living activities such as meal preparation, light housekeeping, errand services, conversation and companionship, grooming and dressing guidance, medication reminders, and respite for family members. And therefore, in recognition of these many hours of devoted service, I, Karen Schwartz, Mayor of the City of Bishop, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim December 4th, 2022 through December 10th, 2022 as Home, Health, and Hospice Care Week in the City of Bishop. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Bishop to be affixed on this 28th day of November, 2022. And Ruby, are you here? Will you please come on up and I'll present you the proclamation. So much.
Thank you
Yes,
so
I have been, hospice has come into my family and the services are so overwhelmingly wonderful during such a hard time. So thank you so much for being here in Bishop.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, and if you want to say anything.
I do. Well, thank you to the city. Wow, that's beautiful and very well said. I just have a couple fundraisers that are coming up. We have our special hospice tree lighting ceremony coming up this Thursday at 5:30 p.m. It's right at our office at 363 Academy Avenue. And it's basically where friends and loved ones are honored, remembered, or memorialized. A gift of $10 will place a light on our tree in their honor while supporting the good works of hospice care. The entire community is welcome. We're planning on having the high school choir come and sing. There will be a memory slideshow, a make and take Christmas ornament, which is kind of fun so that you can remember that loved one that you've lost or that you want to memorialize and put it on your own tree. We'll have some fire pits for warming and some marshmallows for roasting. So please join us. It's kind of a special thing. Light Up a Life is something that happens across the country, and it's usually done as fundraisers for whatever hospice is putting on the event. So this is a nationwide event. We also have a fun movie coming up, The Polar Express at the Bishop Twin Theater. That'll be December 18th at 1 p.m. If you wear your jammies, you get a free magical Christmas bell. The snack bar will be open and all the proceeds will benefit Hospice of the Owens Valley. So thank you. I hope you all could make it out to one of our events. Thank you.
Ruby,
Yes.
quickly, yes, your event, the Christmas tree lighting is seriously one of the better fun events. The people there, it's chances to talk and great cookies and all the little back room with all the soups. Amazing. So out here in the audience, please go to it. It's just a great event, supporting a great organization. I apologize, I will not be able to make it, but I do want to buy a Christmas tree ornament, please.
Okay.
And I want to take literally 1 minute here. I'm sorry. We do this every year. Hospices, it sounds like a great thing. When my mom passed earlier this year, the hospice part of this component truly saved my dad. And the compassion and care, and they became part of our family for a little short time till the very end. And I want to say thank you. What you guys do, I never got to really see it firsthand, but the compassion you guys show, the job you do to be there at one of the most difficult times ever. And you put your hat on, you guys do a job and you do it with amazing dignity, care. And it meant a lot to me and my family. And I know this was in Reno, not here, but again, I want to say thank you to everyone that works for you in your positions. You guys do an amazing job and thank you.
Thank you. It's our honor and our pleasure. And I will pass along your sentiments to our team.
Please.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
I just want to mention, Madam Mayor, that during the report on actions taken in closed session, you may also want to announce whether we're going to do the second item in closed session
Oh,
later.
okay, we are.
Okay.
We're going to do the second item after the meeting, after. For that.
For the public notice. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau updates from Tani Thompson. She's
Hey.
going to be here on Zoom.
Hi, good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, Robin, Dustin. Can you guys hear me all right? Okay, good. Thank you for the opportunity to join you by Zoom tonight. Working late in the little A-frame down by the park on some projects getting ready for this weekend. So I'll be quick with my report. I did give you a written report that I believe was in the packet. So starting off with the information center, we have transitioned to off-season schedule. So currently we're open for walk-in visitors Monday through Friday from 10 to 5, Saturdays from 10 to 4, and closed on Sundays. And the reason we do this is to conserve resources so that we can be open 7 days a week and longer hours during the busier summer season. Occupancy for October was just over 82%, and average daily rate was 136, which is good. It's getting closer to pre-pandemic levels. November's on track for a very good month too. As you all know, I believe the United flights are going to start again on December 15th. And we do have a certified poster display. Actually, 2 of them, one indoors and outdoors out at the airport to promote the new Visit Widget app. And also the new touchscreen kiosk has been ordered and should be arriving within the next week or so. So do you have any questions about the Visitors Bureau side of things, or just hop into our chamber stuff? Okay, so, oh, sorry. The Chamber of Commerce, this is our busy time of year, as you know. We are gearing up for all of the holiday festivities. The Main Street Snowflakes are up. That was a nice collaborative effort. We bought some replacement light bulbs, the chamber did. Waylon and his crew replaced the burned out ones, and April worked with Caltrans and for the permit and coordinated with DWP and PD to get the snowflakes up. I always think it's like wonderful the first night that you drive through town and you see the snowflakes. It seems like magic, but it really is a lot of people that are behind the scenes making it work. So thanks to everyone who did that. The Shop Local Holiday Raffle is underway. I think April's delivered somewhere between 20 and 25 of the little raffle boxes. It's totally free for people to enter at any of the merchants that have them. And there's 1 entry per shop. There was a partial list published in the newspaper this weekend, but we will update that list and push it out through our website and socials because we added some more businesses in the last couple of days. But we're going to do the prizes on the 19th of December, and all of the businesses that are participating contribute gift certificates. Plus there's a $500 local shopping spree. So it's well worth it to get out there and visit those businesses. The parade, as we know, is coming up this Saturday, starts at 4:30. Again, a big thanks to everybody who's been collaborating to make this work. The theme is Christmas movies, and people are having fun decorating their entries. Just before the parade will be the Rotary Santa Run, the Santa Mile Fun Run. And just after the parade, we'll gather in the front of the park to do the official Christmas tree lighting. Following Saturday is the Railroad Express event out at Laws. That's shaping up to be excellent. Everyone's invited on the 15th to join us at High Country Lumber for the big holiday mixer with the huge raffles. If you haven't been there, it's well worth it to come down for that from 5 to 7 p.m. And I really want to just say thank you to Jose for helping us to translate the posters into Spanish this year. So that's the first time we've done that, and we've delivered them to quite a few places around town. So thank you for volunteering to do that. Any questions about chamber stuff, holiday festivities?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Any questions, anyone? No? Okay. Thank you so much, Tani.
All right. Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks.
All right. Department reports. Fire Chief Joe Dell.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So just a quick looking forward to the parade this weekend. So the firefighters will man intersections and then drive Santa down the route, hopefully. I'm not sure I saw your guys' float in the list. Finishing up some grant stuff, the 2019 PSPS grant that we have, finalized some paperwork on it today. That's the generator up on the repeater site. Still awaiting final Forest Service permissions, but that work should be completed when the snow melts in the spring. The 2020 PSPS grant, which is an upgrade of our radio system, our console, is in process right now. It's causing a little bit of havoc with our normal radio stuff, but Sam Bloom and John Nielsen are working on getting that program through. And then Public Works has been really helpful in finalizing up our CDBG stuff, which I'll work with. We'll finalize the numbers on that one. That's kind of coming through, but a lot of stuff just hitting us at once on that point. We finished up our training schedule for the year. We've got one more official training in 2022. We start working on our 23 training calendar. We've got some exciting stuff coming up. Lassen Community College is going to bring a driver training series to us. So we're going to do driver training 1A in May, driver training 1B in September, and driver training aerial operations in October. Each of those is 40-hour classes. So it'll be a regional class. Everybody will be invited from all around, but as we continue to struggle with trying to get those drivers, bring in some opportunities to get some good training. I guess the instructor has a pilot's license and he loves to fly in. He says, yes, I will fly to Bishop and teach your class. So, and then that's all I got, unless you guys have any questions.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Police Chief Richard Standridge.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sorry I missed the last council meeting. I was in executive development training in Folsom. I still have one more week left, and as I like to say, that will be the last mandatory post-class I have to attend in my career. I'll attend other trainings, but no more mandatory certificate classes. That'll be it. So if I achieve the executive certificate, only about, which I should by the end of next year, only 2% of the police chiefs get that. So I'll go ahead and try to wrap that up next year. So we've had a lot going on, and I'm going to take a little bit of time tonight and go through some of these. I had the opportunity to speak at the last chamber luncheon where we talked about some of the issues occurring in the city of Bishop, crime trends, things like that. Got to answer a lot of good questions from the community members that were there, and let them know where the department's at, what we're doing, and kind of where we're going. I thought it was really good. Got some good feedback after. So hopefully in my discussions with Tani, probably make it a yearly opportunity where we can go there and talk. Sergeant Hohenstein just completed supervisor school, and Sergeant Scobie's next to go. So we got them in that 80-hour post class, which is part of their requirement for becoming sergeants, which is great to get them done. Oscar Lopez is doing really well in the academy. He's on track to graduate in February. Still don't have the date for that yet. And as we're moving post-COVID, the local schools are starting their tours back at the police department, and our first one was Round Valley Kindergarten. They came and toured the police department. So Officer Peak was our tour guide that day, and he did a really good job. And while we're talking about Officer Peak, he is now started his first day of defensive tactics instructor down south. So we're going to start having our own instructor. As I made the commitment to council quite some time ago, we are going to continue to move towards our less lethal options in dealing with issues in our public without always having to resort to the higher levels of force. So this is just part of that step. Sergeant Hohenstein and I, mostly Sergeant Hohenstein, completed the city's active shooter training last month, which was really well received by staff. And we got some feedback on how in the future, moving forward, some things we can add and of course make that better, as we always want to do the best we can. Lieutenant Ellsworth sat on the no harm fentanyl panel with the folks from Toyabe and Northern Inyo Health. And feedback I got is he did a really good job in talking about law enforcement response and how Bishop PD responds to issues regarding fentanyl overdoses in the county. And I attended the Opioid Coalition meeting with Toyabe. Those have started back again. So we're trying to really start taking a look at resources, grants we can get, things like that, where we can start trying to help folks in our community who are suffering from opioid abuse. And it's just, again, I'm new to that coalition, so it's kicking off, and everybody seemed excited. We actually had folks on as far as Tule River Tribe over in Porterville, which was really good. So it shows a commitment among the tribes and their health offices to really addressing this issue and working with law enforcement. They really want us to be an active partner, and I'm kind of excited to see where this goes and where we can be of service to them. And as most of you or know or don't know, Dominic John resigned as a dispatcher for Bishop PD. He's moved on to another career opportunity recently, and we wish him the best. But at the same time, again, I need to staff an agency. So we have a qualified candidate who's currently getting ready to start background. And from all intents and initial research, I think she's going to fit in well and do a really good job for us if everything goes according to plan. And we recently had our first vendor come in and give us an estimate on completing the evidence room in the basement over here in our new annex. And so we're moving forward with that project. And I think that's about all council's time I'm going to take up tonight. And is there any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
You. Public Works Director Nora Gamino.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to keep it pretty brief. I just want to put out a reminder that we are still sweeping streets Wednesdays and Thursdays. So that's ongoing. Been reaching out to Tesla, working with Tesla or trying to work with Tesla regarding the charging station and the lack of a restroom facility at the charging station. We will be installing a motion sensor light at the corner of the building, looking down on the dumpsters and the little green patch there to try to discourage use of that area. And I'm also inquiring with them about how they've solved this problem in other places, if there's anything they can do to mitigate the problem there. We're also out at the airport this week, helping out Inyo County with a little bit of landscaping before those flights start on December 15th. There's a kind of an ugly dirt patch with some drainage issues. So we're going to come in there and try to put in a sump and deal with the drainage issues, do some DG, put some nice boulders, just make it look a little bit nicer. So we're out there helping the county this week with that. And then the other thing that I'll mention is tomorrow, the Bishop Parkway's Green Alley design RFP, request for proposals, will be issued. So it'll be posted on our website. Proposals will be due by January 3rd for that project. And I know we have a couple of interested contractors, including a local consultant. So that'll be coming out soon.
That Whitney Alley?
That is Whitney Alley. Yes. Sorry. The official name is Bishop Parkway's Green Alley Design, Whitney Alley. So, but yes, that is what that project is. It's Prop 68 money.
Another quick question, since you're looking at the Tesla stuff, can you, would you mind looking at if there was anything in our agreements for what the signs there should say? Because the way that they're worded, they kind of imply that it's not public parking, but it is still a public parking lot.
Yes. So I have looked through their agreement and I've tried to look for any other backup documentation about that whole agreement. It does look like the signs were in the signed contract with them. But my understanding is there's been an agreement, maybe not written in the contract, that other people can use the parking spaces that are in that area. But from what I find, the signed agreement is pretty limiting on what the sign should say.
Okay, just checking. Okay.
And it's a 5-year term on that agreement with an option to extend for 5 and then 5 more on top of that. So I don't know if we can open up a little bit of negotiation with them after the first 5-year term to see if we can change a few things in there, but it's pretty binding the way it's written.
Okay, just checking.
And that's all I have. If there's any questions?
I do. For the general public reminder, could you or Destin repeat the street sweeping schedule?
Sure. So it's Wednesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 3. On Wednesdays, we do the odd numbered addresses. So Wednesday is the west and north sides of the street. And then on Thursday, we do the east and south sides of the street, which are the even addresses. So
Thank you.
yeah, and we're working a little bit double time this week. There's a lot of leaves out there that
Wow.
need to get picked up. Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, we have to go around the cars that don't move or repark. So,
I did see my neighbor the other day with their leaf blower blowing it out into the street for you guys.
The night before they sweep. Yeah.
yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
I know.
It's, yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, oh. I know.
Yeah.
See, Jim, it's littering.
Thank
Sure.
thank you so much, Nora.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, and then from Zoom, we will have Community Services Manager Dan McElroy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Not anymore.
So tonight I'll focus mostly on our parks and the good job that Wilson Whalen.
You know, Dan, we can't hear you. Maybe turn off your video.
Been doing in preparation for the street alive to get ready for basically Friday and Saturday night for those. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Willis and Whalen have been prepping, getting ready for the Street of Lights. The front restroom project is wrapping up this week. Our after-school program continues to work on holiday crafts and is scheduled to do field trips to the bowling alley in the next couple days. Our kids' night out last Friday had 13 attendees, and we're planning for the next kid night out before Christmas. And Jim Ellis is always invited to come and read to the kids. And then last couple things is gymnastics is starting back up after our Thanksgiving break. And as a staff, we continue to work on our job descriptions and also the manuals for all of our programs. And that's really all I have for you tonight. I'll be coming back to council with 2 items in new business. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, thank you, Dan.
Yeah,
Thank
new
you.
lights up yet?
Oh, we
No
do have a
new lights,
question.
Jim. No lights yet, just the
No
street.
lights
just
yet.
lights. So,
Okay, I'll check back with you next week.
yeah.
Okay, Associate Plan Development Coordinator Elaine Kabala.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. So the first update for you this evening is that we have finally published the specific plan document. That will go to the Planning Commission tomorrow night for their consideration. And if they have no significant edits requiring us to come back, and they make the appropriate recommendations, it will come to your council in December. I brought an exhibit. So this is the document. And I just wanted to share it with you so that if you wanted to look at it beforehand, it's on the Planning Commission agenda. So those documents are available if you wanted to start looking at it, just so I know that you have a lot of materials to read before when they're published before a city council meeting. So this is available beforehand and I don't expect it'll change dramatically. Also wanted to let you know, you may recall that Inyo County was working with the Rural County Representatives of California, RCRC, for a grant to prepare a comprehensive economic development strategy, which would be in the benefit of Inyo County, Mono County, and Alpine County, and the incorporated jurisdictions within those counties. That is a document that's a federally required document to access federal economic development funding. That project is being administered by RCRC. They put out an RFP last month for a consultant, and then they got 2 responses back. I was on that committee. We've made a recommendation, which included staff from all the jurisdictions. And they believe that they'll have that contract awarded on December 1st. So that project will be kicking off in the new year. And I think they expect to have the document completed in June. Also wanted to let you know that on the Comprehensive Economic Resiliency Fund front, which is the state of California side, there's no updates for the planning implementation at this time, but the state did come out with a surprise, no one saw it coming, $50 million funding opportunity for pilot projects to start implementation prior to the planning document. So I just wanted to make you aware of that opportunity as well. And I will be working with my counterparts and my colleagues to see if there's an appropriate project for the city of Bishop to submit. Also wanted to let you know, continue efforts on sign enforcement. For the most part, the businesses have been responsive, even if we don't see the immediate changes. Some of those businesses are just struggling to get contractors into the area with the equipment they need or the permitting through Caltrans to bring those signs down. There are a couple of outlying businesses that we haven't received a response from, so we'll probably need to escalate enforcement options with those businesses. And finally, wanted to let you know, we received many complaints about the status of the southernmost parcel at Vons and Kmart. That parcel has been sold to a new owner, and we are working closely with them to identify a manager based in Bishop who can do landscaping upkeep and make sure that property is clean. So we are working to resolve that issue. Happy to take any questions you have this evening. Thank you.
Nothing from me. Thank you very much.
Lynn, does that property encompass the fence line along the south or just?
Yes, it does.
Correct.
I had a quick question. I really appreciate all the effort you're doing on signs. I'm sure it's not the easiest uphill battle for some. I was thinking about the wavy ones that it's in our sign ordinance that those are not allowed, and yet they're still.
The feather flags.
Yes.
Yeah, so staff's strategy to approaching sign enforcement was to start with about 10 or a dozen and, follow up with those as necessary and then start cycling through. So started with some of the, frankly, what we consider safety offenders, but we'll continue to do enforcement for signage in consistence with our ordinance.
Terrific. That's what I needed to know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. City Administrator Destin Deshawn.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. So probably first and most exciting is we were able to make a job offer to an assistant finance director who has accepted, and we're just waiting on a background and a physical and hoping to bring that person on by December 12th. So big news. And Leslie Chapman, our contract person right now, is willing to stay on board and do a lot of training for us prior. So excited to have that hole filled. The assistant planner, the revised job description went out last week and is flown open till filled. So hopefully we'll get some more interest on that job. We'll have our normal bi-weekly meeting tomorrow with the developers that are interested in developing property in the city. And they're investing quite a bit of work into figuring out what's going to work in Bishop and what type of what the market can withstand here and all that. So very interesting and very sophisticated developers. So excited to hear what they have to say this week. I guess I should let you at the end. The mayor and I met with a representative from the governor's office week before last, and they just mostly came to ask us what our concerns are, what could the state do better for the city? How could they help us out? We talked about a number of things, a truck bypass, sales tax on emergency vehicles, and why is that there? And I guess it was just a number of things, and also street funding and projects. Why did the metropolitan cities get 90% of everything right off the top? What happens to us? So I think it was a nice meeting and nice to meet them and hopefully open a dialogue, and kind of waiting for a response back now. And then probably lastly is I think it's very good news, really. The airport and United and everybody has been working on canceling flights in January and February that are not very well booked. So the reason being is then they can extend their flights later into the spring, and trying to hope to make it till spring break, which would be really nice. We're limited by the type of plane that can come here and the amount of pilot hours that we use. So they're thinking of ways to create, there's a flight, there was 2 in January that had 2 bookings on it right now. They're in the midweek, so cancel them and move it off to where people, onto a Thursday, Friday, or a Sunday. So it's kind of encouraging, I think, to see some light at the end of the tunnel working on year-round air service for Bishop, and all the players involved are on that same page. But other than that, unless you have anything of me, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to the consent calendar. Notice to the public, all matters under the consent calendar are considered routine by the city and will be acted on by one motion. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Any public comments? Someone like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar as is.
I will second that.
Okay, call for a vote.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Mohovi,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Now we'll move on to new business. Item A, purchase of infield materials for baseball, softball fields, community services.
Good evening again, Madam Mayor. How am I coming through now? Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Okay. So the City of Bishop Community Services maintains 4 ball fields and softball fields located within the city park. In January 2020, the Community Services Department purchased infield materials to basically bring those fields back up to playability. We purchased that material from Gale Materials. By addressing the loss of infield material, we improved the playing conditions and, of course, any unsafe conditions on the fields. In our analysis, the Community Services Department has budgeted for this item in the 2022-2023 budget. To keep these fields up to the highest standard possible, as we do host many softball tournaments, baseball tournaments, and multiple user groups throughout the community. We also host the Bishop Regional All-Stars Tournament. The City of Bishop softball fields are scheduled for use in mid-January, and that play continues all the way through August. So it's imperative that we do this now. It's kind of our off-season, our 1-month off-season for the fields. The Community Services is requesting that the purchase be made in accordance with the Municipal Code 3.24.110, with exception to open market procedure, since the commodity can only be purchased from one bidder. There are some economic impacts by having our fields absolutely immaculate and nice and safe. We do host large tournaments, bringing in people from Lancaster, Palmdale, Mono County, and Tehachapi. These tournaments happen over multi-week periods and allow families to stay, recreate, and frequent local businesses. The budget impacts are as follows. This item is budgeted in the 2022-2023 budget in the amount of $55,000 in the line of 56027 capital improvement. The total amount to be delivered to the City of Bishop Park is $50,636.63 from Gale Materials. Attorney Pucci has reviewed this item and finds that the recommended action complies with the law. And recommendation to council to consider to waive the formal bidding procedures pursuant to Municipal Code Section 3.24.110 and approve the purchase of infield materials from Gale Materials in an amount not to exceed $50,636.63.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Dan? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, my only question is, if I recall correctly, we do have fees for like setting up tournaments and all of those things for people using the ballparks, right? And so I'm just curious how those compare to what the maintenance costs actually are.
I could do that for you, Stephen, but I could tell you offhand, the money that we receive for the rental of our facilities does not really cover the cost of infill materials. This is done over a 2-year period too. It's something that we don't do every year. But
Mhm.
I would venture to guess that we don't really offset those costs by that.
I remember we did it last time. It was kind of like, why do we need dirt on top of dirt? But yeah, but truly, it has an incredible value. To talk to people involved in baseball and softball, our fields are top notch because of it. So I think it's money well spent. It gives us a park that we're proud of. So thank you.
And I will add, I did apply for a grant through the MLB Association over the last couple of weeks, of which we were denied this year, but we're looking to go ahead and resubmit that one in about 6 months, which would cover almost the total cost of the infill material. But right now they're not accepting applications anymore. So.
Is there any public comment? Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion that we waive the formal bidding procedure pursuant to municipal code section 3.24.110 and approve the purchase of infield materials from Gale Materials in an amount not to exceed $50,636.63.
I'll second.
Okay, call for a vote?
Okay, Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Mohovi,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis.
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay,
Thank you, council.
thank you. Moving on to a resolution, the Urban Greening Grant.
Okay,
you
here we
again,
go
Dan.
again. Here we go again, guys. So tonight before you, the state of California Natural Resources has made available the Urban Greening Grant. The City of Bishop and the Friends of the Eastern Sierra Community Gardens have begun the process to submit a proposal to the California Natural Resources Agency. This potential grant would provide for an expansion of the Bishop Park Community Garden. A general design of the expansion would include a shade structure, native plant demonstration, trees along the Pine to Park path, a composting area, and signage to create public interaction. The Community Services Department of the City of Bishop and the Friends of the Eastern Sierra Gardens have filed an application with the California Natural Resources Agency on September 28th, 2022. The Natural Resources Agency conducted a site visit to the Bishop City Park and the Friends of the Eastern Sierra Community Gardens. The next step in this process is to adopt a resolution for the Urban Greening Grant and enter into an MOU with the Friends of the Eastern Sierra Community Gardens. The city will also complete an environmental analysis under the California Environmental Qualities Act, CEQA. Staff has determined that the project qualifies for a categorical exemption under section 15301, existing facilities, and has prepared a notice of exemption. The economic impacts are hopes to bring visitors to the Bishop Community Garden from out of the Bishop area. And potential impacts would be the reduction in landfill waste and by compost and being able to compost on site. Budget impacts are as follows. The general construction would be $120,278 with a 10% contingency of $12,027.80 for a total cost for reimbursement of $132,305.80. The City of Bishop Community Services will create a budget line to process the middle of the expenditures and receive the reimbursement from the state of California. The City of Bishop would also create an MOU, has created an MOU with the Friends of the Eastern Sierra Community Gardens to define roles and responsibilities for this partnership. City Attorney has reviewed this item and finds that the recommended action applies with the law. And staff requests that the City Council adopt the resolution of the City of Bishop, State of California, Urban Greening Grant by title only, and direct staff to file a CEQA categorical exemption and approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Bishop and the Friends of the Eastern Sierra Community Gardens.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
So Dan, I had a quick question. I was, when I read through this report twice and my confusion is the different intents that you use. Is this the grant that the garden people applied for that we talked about months ago? And now they're giving us the money?
This is in preparation for them to give us the money, but yes, this is the urban greening grant, same grant, yes.
Okay, yeah, the first paragraph talked about beginning the process. And so then I was kind of confused. So I just wanted to make sure I knew what we were talking about. So that's great. They must be super excited.
And
Thank
I
you.
think the agreement is really well laid out with our roles and responsibilities and their roles and responsibilities, so it doesn't get muddied and confused on who's responsible for what. So nice work on that. Any other questions? All right, any public comment? All right, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move that we adopt the resolution of the City of Bishop, State of California Urban Greening Grant by title only and approve the filed the CEQA categorical exemption and approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Bishop and the Friends of the Eastern Sierra Community Garden.
I'll second that.
Call for a vote.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Bishop, State of California, authorizing submittal of application for grant funds for urban greening program and filing of CEQA categorical exemption. Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Moholy,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
All right.
Thank you again,
Item
council.
Thank you. Item C, resolution, permanent local housing allocation funding planning.
Good evening again, Council. So at beginning of October, we held a discussion about the permanent local housing allocation, which is a set aside funding with the state of California for the city of Bishop to implement certain programs to address the housing shortages. Staff had proposed that it would be most efficient, given the relatively small amount of funding available, which is about $362,000 for the first 3 years, to partner with Inyo County to develop parallel programs for seamless service to the community, since their proposed program is also in line with where we felt it would be most effective to put this money and what policies we had established in our housing element. So with that, we've developed a grant application that would split the available funding 50-50 after taking out a 5% cost for administering the program through the city of Bishop. 50% of that funding would be available for low interest loans for housing unit rehabilitation for single family, multifamily, and mobile home housing units. And the second half of the funding would be set aside for low interest loans for ADU construction. To address some of your council's concerns about who would be eligible for this funding, and also to meet the requirements under the Housing and Community Development Guidelines, the program would be established to incentivize that those ADUs would be available to residents that meet certain income thresholds. So up to for less than, if the ADU were rented to someone earning less than 60% of the area median income, that the housing owner who developed the ADU would be eligible for 20% loan forgiveness. We also included in the policy that the ADUs would be available for no less than 30 days. So the ADU development would not be available for any type of short-term rentals. So that's largely the summary of our application. We will have an opportunity. The application is Fortunately, very streamlined. It's not extensive, and so we will have that opportunity to really finalize the guidelines in partnership with Inyo County for implementation if Housing and Community Development finds that our application is consistent with their goals and policies and approves it. Once that policy is approved by Housing and Community Development and we enter into an agreement with them for implementation, it's my understanding that they will provide that 3-year allocation to us to put into a set aside account for implementing these programs. So it would not be on a reimbursement basis, which is great news coming from HCD. So with that, I would appreciate any comments, questions that you have on the proposed program. But staff is requesting that your council adopt a resolution, the City of Bishop authorizing the application and adopting the PLHA for permanent local housing allocation program by title only. Thank you.
You. Who has questions?
No, I mean, I think that's good. So it has to be rented for at least 5 years to a tenant with a below median income to be available for the 20% loan forgiveness, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Elaine, I like how clean this is, and it's tangible benefit put right into the hands of people who need it within our community who really could use the help. So I love it. I think let's make this happen. So it's tangible.
And when it says that ADUs shall be available for occupancy for a term of no less than 30 days, is that over a longer time span or just indefinitely perpetuity?
You know, that's an excellent question. I think we would probably have to develop some similar deed restriction similar to that 5-year median income, but we would have, I think, flexibility within our guidelines to develop something.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make a note of that.
I mean, if we can do it in perpetuity, may as well. I don't think we need to limit it to 5 years.
I have a quick question. So I guess my bigger sort of overall concern is that I wish there was some way to write into this the idea that there aren't going to be people who don't care about the 20% loan forgiveness, that they're not going to even attempt to rent to people of the income in which we hope that they're going to rent to. And I don't know if there's a way to write something like that in there or not, but it just something about the 20% loan forgiveness made me think, well, that's great, but I'll just take this loan and pay it back either way. It's still a win-win for me.
That's true. We haven't, I think, set whether this is a 0 interest loan or a low interest loan. It's currently written as a low interest loan. And that interest would be put back into the PLHA fund to continue this type of programming in the future. And so there would be some benefit to the city and the community in that sense.
Okay, well, that's the best we can do, then that's what we'll do. I did notice a typo on the actual application. Not on the first 2 pages of the application, but on the 3rd page. In the description, in the first block, it says 20% of the loan, but in the description in the second block, it says 25%.
Thank you. I had caught that earlier. Very, very recently as well. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I think you bring up a good point though, Karen, that yeah, if I'm making great rent, do I really care about 20% somewhere else? You can make that up pretty quick over 5 years, 10 years of a property. So on low interest loan. So.
It does help solve the housing.
Oh, it
Yeah,
does
so.
one way or the other, but if we're using it to target a specific low income or middle income people who need help, it can be tweaked a little bit there. And you know how it is with our short-term rentals. If there's a hole, they'll find it. And this is just, you kind of see it. So it's neither here nor there. To your point, yeah, it'll help with housing in one way or the other, but we just got to see if it targets what we want.
I'm on. I guess from my perspective, since this is a 3-year kind of thing, maybe after the first year, if we find that it's not working the way we had hoped it would, we could tweak it then if they find those loopholes.
Yeah, it's my understanding that HCD provides flexibility to change the big infrastructure of the policy and the application. And the more nuanced implementation at a community level is within
Right.
our ability to modify. So certainly we can
And-
keep an eye on that.
And then my last question would be, are we still talking about working with formerly Mammoth Lake Housing to push this out, or has that changed?
We are, I've been speaking with my colleague at Inyo County, and we are looking at an appropriate third-party administrator and having conversations with a few different partners in the community. It being state funding and as being a government organization, we would be, developing an RFP, a
Sure.
competitive RFP process.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And then, do we know the loan max?
I believe the number that has been discussed is 60%, but it is not locked in the application. So I think that's something, did I say 60%? I meant $60,000. I apologize. But similarly, not locked in this application, but something that we can develop as we develop guidelines within Inyo County. I apologize.
you
I
meant
meant $60,000.
60,000. And you may not know the answer to this question, but like if we have this third party that helps work with it, did they work with like let's say someone decides to build an ADU that costs more than a 60,000? Do they work with like another lender? Like how does that work?
I think that would depend on which partner we end up
Okay.
partnering.
All right.
And I think to address some of the concerns that you brought up, Karen, my reading of this is that the loans would only be available to people that are making between 60% and 120% of the area median income, who are typically not people who would qualify for a loan on their own, like through different avenues. So I think there is a level of self-selection there, that it's not just, somebody gonna get a real like low interest loan and then not have an incentive to like pay it back.
Yeah, and again, I just wanted to express my concerns, and as we go through this and look at the guidelines, I love that we have that flexibility. So thanks.
Any public comment? Seeing none, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move that we adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Bishop authorizing the application and adopting the PLHA plan for the Permanent Local Housing Allocation Program by title only.
Second that.
Call for a vote?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Bishop, State of California, authorizing the application and adopting the PLHA plan for the Permanent Local Housing Allocation Program. Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Mahovey,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
All right, item D, set interview committee for Parks and Recreation Commission and for Planning Commission.
All right. Well, good evening, council. I believe you all have seen the attached notice for the one scheduled vacancy on the Parks and Recreation Commission and the one scheduled vacancy on the Planning Commission, published in your register on November 5, November 12, November 19, and November 26. The closing date to accept applications to fill these scheduled vacancies is 4 p.m. on this coming Friday, December 2nd. One seat on the Parks and Recreation Commission is scheduled to expire on January 11, 2023, and one seat on the Planning Commission is scheduled to expire on January 27, 2023. The City of Bishop is seeking persons interested in serving on these commissions. All interested persons may contact Bishop City Hall at 760-873-5863, extension 124. Applications and descriptions of duties and responsibilities for each commission are available at City Hall, located at 377 West Line Street, or on the city's website at www.cityofbishop.com. Again, applications will be accepted until 4 p.m. this Friday, December 2nd. I would like to add that currently we've only received one application for the Parks and Recreation Commission vacancy. I'm hoping that the people watching tonight might help by spreading the word out that we are looking for applicants that are interested in serving on these commissions. Now we are before the council tonight because 2 council members are requested to serve on the interview committee for the Parks and Recreation Commission scheduled vacancy. 2 council members are requested to serve on the interview committee for the Planning Commission scheduled vacancy. The 2 interview committees will be made up of 2 council members and 2 commissioners from the respective commissions. I would like to schedule these interviews in the next 2 weeks. So we're looking at the week of December 5 and December 12. And yes, we can have the same council members appointed to both interview committees. So for that to be considered when you appoint. There are no significant economic impacts. There are no significant budget impacts. City Attorney Pucci has reviewed this item and finds that the recommended action complies with the law. So unless council has any questions for me, staff requests the mayor make a motion to appoint 2 council members to serve on the Parks and Recreation Commission interview committee and appoint 2 council members to serve on the Planning Commission interview committee. And then have the council approve that motion. And that's per our manual in the council manual, section A3, commission appointments. That's all I have.
People want to volunteer, or do you want me just to appoint?
Just appoint. Yeah, who's available and appoint?
I will volunteer to be on the interview panel for the planning commission.
I'll make myself available for either one.
Okay. You want to be on both?
Yeah. But I want you to appoint me to both.
I'm happy to volunteer. I'll be having a break.
Oh, right, because you'll be in between.
I'll be in between jobs. Yeah.
And I could probably, I'll be able to help on the week of the 12th, but I'm not available next week at all. So
Okay.
that makes a difference.
Well, yeah.
I don't have those dates memorized, but whatever works with Karen's schedule. And got these guys on maybe planning commission, so, or Parks and Rec.
Only 2, right?
Two and two.
Yeah,
And
I'm
if I have
free.
to blend them.
So you guys are doing planning and we're doing Parks and Rec?
If that works with Karen's schedule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay.
I'm
Oh.
happy to
you'd
do
rather do-
planning as well. I don't care.
Fine with me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the direction is just pick any one of
Yeah.
us and see which
Mix and
schedule
match,
works.
And I can be backup if anyone like gets COVID or something.
All right.
Just with the people are saying today.
And Karen, can you turn your mic?
Oh, sorry. All right, so we need to make a motion for that.
No public comment?
Any public comments?
Motion?
Says action requested. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Councilmember Mahovic and Councilmember Ellis to the Parks and Rec and Councilmember Garcia to the Planning Commission interviewing panel.
With
Or however works.
alternates with being the other pair.
Yeah, either one of us. Yeah, for whatever interview.
It can be
Yeah.
like an alternate.
Make a motion.
Yes,
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
whatever works.
Okay,
All right, awesome. Thank you.
thank you. All right, future agenda items.
Why we need to vote?
Oh, we need a vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Mohovi,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellis.
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Future agenda items. Steven, do you have anything?
I know at some point we're going to revisit our short-term rental policy. Yeah, I just want to keep that in the burner. I guess one question I had real quick was, it's in our requirements that it be your primary residence. Do we also require that it be hosted?
I don't think so. I think it's,
I think we do. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I believe it, and Elaine, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 50% of the time you have to live there.
Mhm.
And
But you
not
could like
necessarily
leave,
hosted.
like you could go out of town.
not
Yeah.
hosted,
I
yes.
just checked.
Do you have anything? I don't have any future agenda items. Karen?
Not off the top of my head.
Jose? No?
Nope.
Okay. Council and committee reports. Stephen?
I do have some notes, but they're not loading yet.
LTC,
Go to
and
Jeff.
I have nothing really. Yeah, kind of been wrapped up with the California cities. Robin, thank you. We're getting ready to do our first meeting next week. And there's some legwork involved. This will be our award ceremony for the division down in Victorville. So we'll let you know what happens there.
Okay.
But things are going good.
All right.
All right, my notes came out.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. I went to the LTC. We had a lively discussion on forest service versus county roads. But other than that, there wasn't too much exciting happening there. The fire JPA, it'll come back to us after a little bit of a descoping and refocusing of what that was going to entail. And I'm sure, Karen, you might have reported last time on the city-county liaison meeting where we had lots of discussion on the airport status and including some ideas for beautifying near the airport and potential housing land swap near the Jack in the Box. So
Aaron?
I have not had any recent local meetings. I do want to tell people that thanks to Jim and some I'm going to call it bossy talk at the California League of Cities. The California League of Cities has made a presidential appointment to put me on the Community Services Policy Committee on behalf of the Women's Caucus. And so that helps with talking about policy for childcare, park and rec, libraries, cultural arts, natural disaster prep, community and human services program. So I'm going to be hard charging those rural issues.
That's great.
same as Stephen, I attended the LTC and the JPA AHA committee, and that's it.
Like Dustin mentioned, I met with the governor's office and went over the topics that Dustin highlighted in his report. And then we had an ESTA meeting on the 18th and it was very brief and we just immediately went into closed session. So that was it. And we had a wonderful Thanksgiving and I look forward to the Christmas parade. And although we don't have a float, I highly encourage all of us to participate in the Santa Mile. Why not? Of course. It's a great fundraiser for Rotary.
just 1 mile.
Just 1 mile. But the hard part is there's like a abrupt turn,
Oh,
it makes it hard
Pivot.
on the joints.
And how are we signing up for this?
At the chamber, I think. Actually, I don't know, but previously it's been at the chamber.
Okay.
Yeah, we should do the Santa Mile.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we do a relay?
Come on, Jim, you and I can.
Should we do a
walk
relay
together.
with batons? Yeah.
Relay.
Okay, so we'll adjourn this meeting to Monday, December 12th, 2022.
Going back into closed.
Oh, we're not adjourning yet. We're going into closed session. And then we'll come back and adjourn. Thanks for catching that.
Worries.
Okay, moving into closed session.
Yeah, just a
quick
quick
break,
reminder
after
for the
break.
council to come back to make the announcement in open session, but sounds like you already got that, Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
do we still have any Halloween candy anywhere? Did he? So if Dean can't be bothered to call in, why is he watching?
Yeah.
Is he really watching?
Oh, I'm all confused. Okay. We have nothing to report from closed session, and I will adjourn this meeting Monday, December 12th, 2022 at 6 PM here in the City Council chambers.